Okay, so first of all, what is it? Tattoo? Oops, sorry. A tattoo is a form of body modification by inserting indelible skin onto the dermis layer of the indelible ink, sorry, onto the dermis layer of the skin by using one or more needles. The dermis layer is the one that is underneath, the one visible. And so, what are the origins of tattoos? The earliest known examples are in a Peruvian mummy dated to 6000 BC. Also, an earliest recent discovery of an Iceman in the Italian-Austrian border with tattoo marks, tattoo patterns, that it's more than 5,000 years old. And several Egyptian female mummies dated to 2000 BC.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we say tattoo? What is the etymology? It is said that the word tattoo came from the Polynesian word tatau, meaning correct or workmanlike. That workmanlike, I had to look it up. It means done with the skill expected of a good worker. So I guess professional people have to do tattoos in Polynesia.
Mm-hmm.
It was brought to Europe by the explorer James Cook after he returned from Tahiti. Or Tahiti, I don't know the pronunciation, they pronounce it differently.
As it looks.
Tahiti. In 1769, where he encountered many tattooed people, and his crew liked it and started getting lots of tattoos. So they began to use that word instead of the earliest words to describe it, that were painting, scarring, or staining, because the word is new, but the tradition is not. So yeah.
So Sophia, so when you say that the meaning of the word tattoo, it's almost like they decided that must be the word for it when the guys finished the job and said, that's a good job. But in Polynesian, so they said tattoo. They said, like, oh, okay, that's what it is.
Yes, so they started using that word. Okay, so now the tattoos are used to just trends or to symbolize something. It's a very personal thing, but they had historical functions. They had a lot more. Between Cook's fellow soldiers, it was popular to use the tattoos to know the travels. For example, if you cross the Atlantic, you would get an anchor tattooed, or if you went to South Equator, you would get a turtle tattooed. And before that, Crusaders got Jerusalem crosses tattooed on their chest. So if they died in battle, they would have a Christian burial, because people would know they're Christian. And also there's a large history of people being tattooed unwillingly. For example, Greeks and Romans tattooed slaves to discourage them. Criminals and prisoners in Japan also were tattooed with different marks. And maybe the most recent one is in World War II, where the Nazis tattooed prisoners at Auschwitz concentration camp with the numbers on the chest or the arm to identify them. But these last two ones, they were redefined by the people who got them to take ownership of that status in history. For example, free prisoners in Japan covered up their tattoos with decoration based on popular literature and spiritual symbols that represented loyal and courage. As an example here, this is a cover of tattoo, a Japanese prisoner. And then the survivors of the Auschwitz camp would wear short sleeves in Germany to show off the tattoos, to remind people of the crime that had happened and what they had suffered.
Yeah.
for example, or even the descendants of their granddaughters, the grandsons, they tattooed the same number their relatives had just to honor them. This is another one.
Sophia.
Yes.
So the Japanese ones, the Japanese criminal ones, no, you don't need to go back.
Okay.
It was like an early example of what we now call like a cover-up.
Yes.
When you fix when you fix a tattoo.
Yes.
Right.
It was a cover-up, so they were proud that they had them.
Yeah.
So when you cover up, it means that you had something underneath.
Yeah.
And you're proud of it. Okay, you all may know the sound that the machine makes when you enter in a tattoo shop. The zzz, like you're in the dentist. So the first tattoo machine was patented by Samuel O'Reilly in 1891, and it was based on Thomas Edison's sensor machine from 1876. This is Edison's machine. It was to make copies, writing just one time. This is the first tattoo machine, and this is a modern one of the most examples because there are a lot of tattoo machines. Now, I would like to share a video. Some of the things I've said are going to be in the video, and then this is going to explain why tattoos are permanent on skin.
Can you select subtitles as well? Thank you.
Tattoos have often been presented in popular media as either marks of the dangerous and deviant or trendy youth fads. But while tattoo styles come and go, and their meaning has differed greatly across
I don't know
cultures,
what happened.
the practice is as old as civilization itself.
Oh, sorry.
Decorative skin markings have been discovered in human remains all over the world, with the oldest found on a Peruvian mummy dating back to 6000 BCE. But have you ever wondered how tattooing really works? You may know that we shed our skin, losing about 30 to 40,000 skin cells per hour. That's about 1 million per day. So how come the tattoo doesn't gradually flake off along with them? The simple answer is that tattooing involves getting pigment deeper into the skin than the outermost layer that gets shed. Throughout history, different cultures have used various methods to accomplish this. But the first modern tattooing machine was modeled after Thomas Edison's engraving machine and ran on electricity. Tattooing machines used today insert tiny needles loaded with dye into the skin at a frequency of 50 to 3,000 times per minute. The needles punch through the epidermis, allowing ink to seep deep into the dermis, which is composed of collagen fibers, nerves, glands, blood vessels, and more. Every time a needle penetrates, it causes a wound that alerts the body to begin the inflammatory process, calling immune system cells to the wound site to begin repairing the skin. And it is this very process that makes tattoos permanent. First, specialized cells called macrophages eat the invading material in an attempt to clean up the inflammatory mess. As these cells travel through the lymphatic system, some of them are carried back with a belly full of dye into the lymph nodes, while others remain in the dermis. With no way to dispose of the pigment, the dyes inside them remain visible through the skin. Some of the ink particles are also suspended in the gel-like matrix of the dermis, while others are engulfed by dermal cells called fibroblasts. Initially, ink is deposited into the epidermis as well, but as the skin heals, the damaged epidermal cells are shed and replaced by new dye-free cells, with the topmost layer peeling off like a healing sunburn. Blistering or crusting is not typically seen with professional tattoos, and complete epidermal regeneration requires 2 to 4 weeks, during which excess sun exposure and swimming should be avoided to prevent fading. Dermal cells, however, remain in place until they die. When they do, they are taken up, ink and all, by younger cells nearby, so the ink stays where it is. But with time, tattoos do fade naturally, as the body reacts to the alien pigment particles, slowly breaking them down to be carried off by the immune system's macrophages. Ultraviolet radiation can also contribute to this pigment breakdown, though it can be mitigated by the use of sunblock. But since the dermal cells are relatively stable, much of the ink will remain deep in the skin for a person's whole life. But if tattoos are embedded in your skin for life, is there any way to erase them? Technically, yes. Today, a laser is used to penetrate the epidermis and blast apart underlying pigment colors of various wavelengths, black being the easiest to target. The laser beam breaks the ink globules into smaller particles that can then be cleared away by the macrophages. But some color inks are harder to remove than others, and there could be complications. For this reason, removing a tattoo is still more difficult than getting one, but not impossible. So a single tattoo may not truly last forever, but tattoos have been around longer than any existing culture, and their continuing popularity means that the art of tattooing is here to stay.
Now let's go on to styles of tattooing. There are more styles, but I chose the main ones. And the pictures I found are very, very exaggerated, so you can see very big pieces, so you can see the difference between styles. Of course, each one can be in various variations, smaller. First one is traditional style. It became popular in 1930s, and it's known for bold, clean black outlines and less but well saturated primary colors, like red, yellow, blue sometimes. Then we have traditional Japanese. It's similar, inspired in the Japanese prisoners I told you before. And it's similar to the traditional one, but with shading, as long as the black outlines. And they usually are in the theme of lotus flowers, warriors, dragons, tigers, and koi fish. They are inspired
Sorry, what fish?
Koi fish. Koi?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. They are inspired in the Tebori method, that means hand carved. It was a traditional way to do this kind of tattoos, and I have a video of someone doing it this way. I'm just going to show you really quickly.
You can speak it up.
No, it's just so you can see how they use only their hands and not a machine. I think this is amazing because you have to have a lot of precision. You are poking into the skin. Then we have realism, as I don't think I have to explain anything. It's just to get as close to reality as possible. And we have it in color or in black and gray and white. When the whole arm is tattooed, is called a sleeve, tattoo sleeve. And normally they use either gray or they water down the black ink to make the gray tones and the gradients to do all the shading. Then we have portraiture, that is trying to do someone's face. It also can be in color. Like this one. It's amazing. Or in black and white. So people who do this or who get this have to find a very, very great tattoo artist, because if they don't have experience in doing portraits, you could have something terrible tattooed on your skin that I will show you later.
It's Sorry?
The shading is amazing on the face.
They probably do it from a photograph as well, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they use the stencil first, and but it's I think it's difficult to do the shading.
Yeah.
Then we have illustrative. It's kind of similar to the traditional, but mixed with shading. The traditional doesn't have shading, and with more like an illustration. And if it's more on the caricature side, it's called New School.
Could it be like Art Nouveau?
Yes, similar. Then biomechanical. Okay, this next image is a little bit exaggerated.
I think I know what it is, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
mixturing the mixture between mechanical elements or robotic elements onto the skin. And what is particular about these tattoos is that the tattoo artist designs the tattoo for each individual.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Like steampunk.
And then Polynesian. It's also designed for each individual, and it's based in the Polynesian traditional tattoos that are done with another traditional method that I'll show you. It's kind of a Japanese one, but they just put the needle and with the ink and press it onto the skin. This is why the Polynesian only has straight lines and patterns, because it's difficult, I guess, to do curves. Then we have watercolor, is one of my favorites.
Yes.
I want to get. It's without black outlines and trying to imitate brush strokes.
Yes.
It's very, very colorful and, in my opinion, very beautiful.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sophia. What about Celtic?
Maybe it's more of a pattern than a style,
Yeah.
but I didn't find it in the principal style, but
Okay.
I guess it also could be a style. Then we have lettering. There is tons of types of lettering, more handwritten one, more hard one. I chose my tattoo to show the lettering because although it's a very simple one.
This is your own?
Yeah, it's mine. I have it on my neck. And it's very, very simple, but it's lettering. It's, I think, the most common one because people usually get words or sentences, quotes. And last but not least, in the styles, we have traumatic that is used with in people with scars to cover up them. For example, this one.
Yeah.
I think it's very helpful for the people who get it because instead of seeing a scar that reminds you of an accident or something traumatic, you see a tree, a beautiful tree, or
Yeah.
a drawing you want to get.
So like people as well with amputated limbs,
Yes.
or women with mastectomies.
I have this one.
Yeah. Well, mastectomy, yeah.
Women who suffer from breast cancer
Yes.
can get tattoos to also.
They can also get a tattoo to like reconstruct a nipple.
Reconstruct?
Like to draw a nipple.
Oh yes,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Also. And the next image is not a style, but it's also to show you that tattoos can be very, very meaningful. This one, the story is that the father tattooed on his arm the last words of his son because they had an accident and his son died. And if you give tattoo artists handwriting, a letter or something, they can copy exactly handwriting. So I found this very, very emotional. And also this one, it's amazing.
Oh yes.
In honor to the.
He is not deaf, but his daughter has a hearing aid. Yes.
Yes. And now we're getting too emotional, so I have some fails, so you can laugh a little bit and do a face palm.
Well, they're not always funny, actually, fails.
Well, I found it ridiculous sometimes.
No regrets.
No, yeah.
I haven't said it.
Okay, it's from the top 6 from the least bad to the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of just funny.
That's not really a fail. It's
No,
what
it's
you
not.
wanted.
It's not a fail, but I found it funny to
Yeah.
that he's embracing
But
that.
he has had what he wanted done.
Yes, I
He's got
know.
what he wanted.
This is why it's in the 6th place because it's
Okay.
not a fail.
Yeah.
Okay, the worst thing you could do. The worst thing you could do is tattoo the name of someone you are with, a couple of something, your partner, because your family is going to be there forever, but partners come and go. Yes.
Do you have Johnny Depp's one, Winona Ryder?
No.
Do you know the story though?
No. What is it?
Johnny Depp was in a relationship with Winona Ryder. He had a tattoo that said Winona forever. When they separated, he got NA removed, so it says Wino forever.
Then we have misspelled tattoos.
This happens in non-English speaking cultures.
And also in
Yes.
there's also one that said here I think no regrets. Regret nothing, but without the T. Regret nothing.
Oh. And we also get the opposite situation as well, where you get English speakers getting Chinese or Japanese
Yes.
tattoos that say something in Japanese or Chinese that is not very nice, but they didn't know that.
We had got a French tattoo behind her here, I think, and she wanted to write a rebel flower,
Uh-huh.
and so she write rebelle fleur, but in French we say fleur rebelle.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, it's not really, when you read it, it's wrong.
The grammar is
Yeah.
wrong. Mm.
And I think how people can get this without reading it twice, because if you read it again just
Yes.
one more time, you realize it's not good.
Mm.
Also, another one misspelled.
Uh-oh.
Extreme. And it's a very big piece on his chest.
Mhm.
It's not like the one in the arm that it's bad.
Mm.
Okay, now the top 2. Remember what I told you about the portraits?
Yes.
If you find a bad artist, you can. This
I've
can
seen
happen.
this.
Yes, but there's a long story to that one. Sophia, did you know that this? I don't know the names involved, but I do know that this one, which is well known, did get fixed.
Yes, I saw the fixed one, but
Yes.
I wanted to put first the fail.
And it is a tragedy because this is a
Memorial
memorial
tattoo,
to
yes.
a dead person.
Why did the tattoo artist think it was intelligent to do the outline of the key?
Yeah.
On the photo you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is the worst one, if you all know the song the It's My Life from John Bon Jovi.
Or Dr. Olbine.
It's my life. John Bobby. Why?
So it's easy for and then you need me to come here and do this and like no. There you go, punctuation.
And also it's not the song, it's my life. Is my life, John Bobby. It's the worst one. Now, at the end of the day, if tattoos last forever, but if you grow old and you are proud of your tattoos, you can pull them off and you can still like them even when you are old. And I also think we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, because things cannot see. If you see him on the street, maybe it's okay, people wouldn't think anything, but if he was wearing shorts or a short sleeve, maybe the stereotypes could get into. So, yes, I think that's everything.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophia. Does anybody else have any more questions?
Is tattoo will cause skin cancer or not? The color
Is there a connection?
As well as long sun exposure, as well as pollution, as well as smoking, as well as everything could cause diseases. So it has. I don't think it has everything to do with that. Could happen, but it's not because of that.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the ink made of?
It's special indelible ink, but I don't know exactly what it's made of. It's just a type of ink.
Okay. Because I'm aware that some inks are made from animal sources, and this is something that vegetarians and vegans are not always aware of. You know, they get a tattoo, you know, I am a vegan. It's like, did you know what that ink was made from?
I guess it could be because it's on the skin. So if it's from an animal resource, maybe your skin doesn't reject it. But I don't exactly know.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I just got one more thing. Do you know about white tattoos?
Yes.
Made
only with white skin, with white ink.
Yeah.
That they are not that visible, but you can see them. Yes, I didn't include them, but I know.
It would have been interesting just to see one example. Yeah.
Does
I
he
can
have
look
the
for it.
tattoos you see in the under the black line, you know, on the
Yeah.
gloves?
I've heard these ones are dangerous because they have to put special ink, and glow in the dark things are not very safe
Oh yes.
even for the skin. So I don't think it's safe to put into your skin.
Okay.
I can look for the white tattoos just to.
Nick,
Yes.
I ask a question.
Yes, Wendy.
I heard people say in England, when you want to find a job interview, if you have a tattoo as well, then maybe in fact you will get a job. It's true?
Well, there are some people who do say, yeah, it can, depending on the job, they might have a prejudice or bias against people with tattoos, depending on what the job is and the impression that they expect people to make. As Sophia says though, maybe because this is something so old, so long established and so popular, not to mention that it happens with people from all ages and all levels of society, this is something that really should be changing. You know, I don't personally like tattoos, but I don't see any reason why we should judge people professionally or their personalities according to them. So yes, this is what Sophia is saying. Yeah, you've got a white one now on the board. Thank you, Sophia. And I need to turn the light off because we can't see it without it. And you said that you mentioned glowing in the dark. Do all white ones do that, or is that just
No. They don't. They
It's not the same.
no?
It's on the type.
Right. Yes. And those are potentially dangerous, you said.
Yes. Well, because, for example, the glow in the dark tubes that they give to you in the clubs, they say if you open them, they are dangerous, they are toxic. So
That's right.
you're, even if it's very small quantity of ink, you're putting that into your skin. So
It is the same thing, is it?
I don't think it's exactly the same thing, but it has to have something to glow in the dark.
Yes.
Chemicals.
Yeah, similar chemicals. So,
Mhm.
so
Okay, thank you, Sophia. Thank you for an excellent presentation. I love the layout, the way that you designed it so that it looks like a social media social media page. That was a Prezi template, was it?
yes,
So you could choose that template. Do they have a lot of choices of template?
yes, tons
Okay.
of them.
And you had never used Prezi before,
No,
and you found it easy to use to make that presentation.
yes,
Good.
very easy because you can figure it out very quickly how
Mhm.
it works.
Yeah. You can figure it out very quickly. Do you know what the adjective for that is? Intuitive. If you say something is intuitive, it means it's very easy to work out on your own. So Prezi is a very intuitive tool, and as you can see, it makes for a much more dynamic kind of presentation. Thank you very much, Sophia. Well done.